Welcome back to the third part of Pacific Health Talanoa with Lorenzo on BLU TV on the 1st of September 2021. Pleasure to have a very, very special guest on my show today to give some word of encouragement, biblical word of encouragement to our Pacific community. Enjoy the level 4, Auckland and Northland, and make the most of level 3, other parts of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Reverend Atu Lagi, Assistant National Superintendent, Pastoral Care, Wesleyan Methodist Church of New Zealand, joins us now on Pacific Health Talanoa for a kōrero and a talanoa from a biblical perspective. How are you, Reverend Atu Lagi?
Hey. Malapita Fexa, no, I'm well, thank you, and thank you, Lorenzo, for the invitation. Yeah, it's good to be part of this Talanoa. I'm so thankful and honored to be part of your show because you are becoming a very important man. You are a celebrity out there, I hear, and what an honor, brother, to be part of your show.
To be very, very honest, I must acknowledge you and allow me on this platform to acknowledge you. And I see you as my spiritual father. I've
thank you, brother.
For the last 15 years. So, and to be very honest, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your support. So I applaud and I commend the work that you do as a counselor and as a spiritual father. O mai te paki whanau for Reverend Atu Lagi. Atu, with all the conspiracy theories, misinformation going around on social media, what would you like to say from a biblical perspective to our Pacific people that are still unsure and still saying, no, that's a mark of the beast. That has killed a lot of people in the world. What would you like to say to them?
Thank you, Lorenzo. Well, it's a big topic, not just with our people, but many people around the world in regards to this vaccination. And there's a lot of theory, there's a lot of explanation, there's a lot of background to it. I've been part of a ministers group from different denominations working with the government via cost collectors to be able to come up with a theological explanation. And I'm so encouraged and surprised that we have Seventh-day Adventist pastors, Whakasa, Wesleyan, Methodist pastors that have come together to be able to share and come up with a theological explanation. And then we also have Whawhi hours, church ministers, tala, they probably have a different perspective, they don't agree. But Lorenzo, I think what's very important now is people to be honest and to be real. And the reality is that people are dying, whichever way you want to look at it. That's the reality that people need to understand, that people are dying from the virus. I know that there's some conspiracy theories out there. But as I talk to people, even some of my church folks, they disagree. They say that, it's to do with the 666. So it comes back to our understanding of scripture. See, context, when it's not contextualized, it becomes a pretext, which means, scriptures is used to defend our arguments, but it's been taken out of context. So it's understanding the book of Revelation, understanding the book of Daniel, and also look at the Old Testament. So this pandemic thing is not a new thing. The distancing, the washing of hands, the wearing of the mask, it's all in the book of Chronicles, in the book of in the Old Testament. It's all documented, and it was the responsibility of the priest to be able to ensure that all these regulations are adhered to, put in place. But in regards to what we are facing right now, my encouragement to people is this: put yourself, those that are probably anti-vaccine, put yourself in the shoe of the frontliners, the medical workers. Put yourself in the shoe that you are faced with people that are dying from the variant. And so the question is this: so what are you going to do as a Christian? One, it is our civil responsibility as citizens of any country, of any nation, and that is to work together with the government. Let's put aside our political differences, and this is where we become bipartisan, and where we put aside our emotions, our different political views, but let's work together for the good of the nation and for everyone. So what are you going to do? Are you going to lay hands and just keep on praying and see the person recover? Or are you going to use the resources available that has been proven, that has been verified by scientists and doctors in that very particular moment? So, we just need to be exercising wisdom. Or are you going to hold on to your belief? Oh, it's a 666 thing. See, the 666 thing, if you really, I know we don't have the time to be able to talk about the 666, but if you read the text of the scripture, the book of Revelation, and see, the book of Revelation is also regarded as the apocrypha, the hidden things. When John was writing, there's a lot of symbols, there's a lot of numbers, because Paul was writing at a time when Christians were persecuted. So really, it was not a direct letter, but it was done in such a way so that the book of Revelation, as God spoke to John in the island of Patmos, and write this down, and it was during the time of persecution. But if you read the text, 666 was referred to a person, and it was the person that was in charge during the time. He was ruthless, he was evil. So, words are used to describe what was happening during the time. So, the vaccine, let me give you another example. In one of our discussions, Lorenzo, with the other pastors, one thing I see that, in the last couple of years, before the pandemic, all of us go to our doctors, right? We all go and see our GP. No one questions the doctor. Hey, where's your credential? Where did you study from? Can I have a look at your degree? But suddenly, everyone's questioning the doctors, and they're questioning the nurses and so forth. Let me pause there.
Wow, great corridor, man. To be very honest, I can listen to you all day long. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I got you on the show right now. Now, Atu, with the collaborations of the government agencies, Ministry for Pacific People, the Ministry of Health, how wonderful it is for all our Pacific leaders and our church leaders to come together and have a talanoa about their say.
Yeah, definitely. See, as Christians, and I've been sharing on the radio in the last couple of days. See, as Christians, very important. I'm speaking to Christians and people out there that are listening. See, our responsibility, and really probably I'm more encouraging the Christians because the spread of this conspiracy theory. First and foremost, we are called to be witnesses of the gospel. We are not called to be troublemakers, and also there's a responsibility as Christians, a godly responsibility in 1 Timothy, that we are to pray for our leaders and those that are in government. And so we have a responsibility. So, one way that we can practice that, and that is to work hand in hand with government officials, with our medical professions, and to be able to see this through. See, we cannot call ourselves a Christian and that we are going against what the government and the nation is trying to do. Really, the reality is this is to do with our health. It's keeping people safe, our loved ones safe. And let me be open. I've already had my first jab. I'm going for my second jab tomorrow. I tried some of the conspiracy theories that people have been showing on video. They put the spoon. There's a lot happening in Fiji, Lorenzo. Someone's had the injection. They put the spoon, and the spoon is. I don't know how the spoon got stuck, but I tried it on my side, but the spoon didn't stick. So I don't know where that came from. But hey, I'm still alive. And I'm still going to heaven, and there's no 666 in me. So I thought just to encourage people, let's not be afraid. Let's not allow fear. If there's one fear that the Bible talks about, let's fear the Lord. The fear of reverence. And that's the only one that we should be in fear of, in terms of reverence and acknowledgement and honoring the Lord. But we are right now at a time where the government needs us, the medical professions needs us, and we all need one another to keep our families and friends, our community safe. We as Christians, we as leaders of the community need to take the lead, and let's go and get vaccinated. Hey, yes, there's been news coming through that someone died. There's all kinds of complications. See, the vaccination is a layer just to help you to be able to go through this time that we're going through. So that's my encouragement. I'm reminded of the words of Jesus: love the Lord your God, love your neighbor. So my challenge is this: how can we love our neighbor at such a time as this? So let's stop spreading the fear, the lies, and what is not really good. So let's reach out to our neighbors, because we have weaker people that are really traumatized by all the kinds of information that is going through. So let's be an encourager, let's be a blessing, and let's affirm people at such a time as this. Then hey, come on, there's nothing wrong with it. And just like you go to your doctors. See, I was vaccinated when I was a little baby, and like Lorenzo, and many of us that are listening in, our parents and our grandparents, got us vaccinated. But see, they didn't really have the knowledge as we have today. But see, if they knew that vaccination was good, that's why they did it. But if they knew that vaccination wasn't good, we wouldn't have been vaccinated. So I thought just to kind of throw that. I like to use some real stories, real examples, just to kind of help out people rather than listening to one angle, just because so and so said it. I listened to some of our people in the Fijian community. Man, we Pacific Islanders, Pacific people, we are master of everything. And especially when they're drinking Vaikaba and they touch on the subject, like everybody's a doctor. The next minute, everybody's a doctor. Next minute, everybody's a lawyer. And that's who we are. But I think it's very important for our people to listen to the right people. The people that have done the training and have done the schooling, not the ones that just kind of pick up information from the social, outlets and so forth.
One final question, Atu.
Yes, go ahead.
The government cannot get everything right. Nothing is perfect. What would you like to see some improvements on, so we can build on in case we go under another lockdown in the future? What would you like to see, some resources going into the churches, coming from a talatala or a church minister?
Well, see, that's one of the conversations that we've been having with in some of the meetings that I've attended, and also some around a lot of the Zoom meetings. And we should be thankful first and foremost. I remember when I came 32 years ago to New Zealand, from Fiji to New Zealand. I knew back then that when it comes to anything to do with church, the government, does not support that because of the church as an organization and the church itself. But there's a big shift ever since the pandemic hit. Now the government realizes that the church is a go-to place because that's where we congregate as Pacific Island people. And that is the existing. See, we can have all kinds of Pacific Island communities, but the existing one that stays, that does not fade away, is the church. So the government realizes now that the church is a go-to, place, because that's where they can, get in touch with all the PI people. Because whether you are you are a committed Christian or not, but we all go to church. We belong to a fellowship. So one thing that the government can really help, and we've been saying in the last couple of days, and that is to believe in our leaders. Believe in our leaders of the community, in our 5 hours, and release the resources, and allow our Pacific Island professionals, there are nurses, there are doctors, to be able to help, serve our people in a capacity where our people can relate and be comfortable with, and that's probably what we lack right now. So we are asking, the government to really support us, not just by words, but really, go deep and give us that assurance that yes, we are pouring the resources, we are giving you the support, whichever support that you need, and that's probably what I'm praying for that will happen. And as you know, Lorenzo, our people, there can be a lot of hindrances, obstacles, the language barrier, and so forth. But when they go to an environment that they're familiar with, I tell you, that's going to be very helpful. And so I'm thankful. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Atu. Any final comments before we conclude and end our Talanoa?
Well, thank you for having me in your show, and thank you to all the listeners for listening in. I just want to remind us all, I was sharing with the story of Nehemiah. When Nehemiah heard that the walls of Jerusalem had broken down, but see, he came to find out about the broken walls because he asked the question. He met some of his fellow Jews. They came, and then Nehemiah took the time to ask them the important question: how is the people back home? And then they gave Nehemiah the negative report that Nehemiah, the walls of Jerusalem has broken down, which means now the enemy is ready to come in. So there's no protection. And chapter 1 says, for 4 months, Nehemiah sat in the presence of God. He prayed, he mourned, and he fasted. See, rather than him running here and there and trying to look for resources, or probably if I was to apply there today, running to all the finance companies to try and loan some money. But what he did first and foremost was to go to the source and sit in the presence of God, seek his wisdom, pour his heart out before he responded to the crisis in Jerusalem. That's what we're going through right now. We are going through a crisis. Rather than trying to look for answers here and there, go to the right place, go to the right people, listen to the right people, the people that are qualified to be able to give us the best advice. And those are the doctors, the nurses, the medical professions. Listen to what the government is saying. Yes, we may have our differences politically, as I said. Let's park that. Let's focus on the real issue that is right now, and that is the pandemic, the Delta, Israel. People are dying. We need to work together as a nation, and most importantly, as specific brothers and sisters that are living in New Zealand. And this is what Nehemiah did. Rather than operating out of a wounded heart, when he received the news, he was in pain. His heart was troubled. He was so brokenhearted. But see, he did not respond. It would have been a disaster, Lorenzo, if he had responded straight away, because he was a wounded man. And many times, my brothers and sisters, we are too quick to react when there is a crisis. We pick up the phone and we say the wrong words and begin to, slander people and smear people. Very important in such a time as this, when New Zealand is going through a crisis. Take stock. That's another Fijian word, which means let's stop. Let's go to the Lord and let's process things and allow the Lord to deal with you first before you respond. So that is my word of encouragement. Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I pray that people are blessed in listening in. And thank you for hosting.
Wow, Reverend Atu Lagi, also a member for our Pacifica Advisory Board for Tamaki Health. And I can also say that is our Father's Day service 2021 done right there for me. Thank you
Amen,
so much. Assistant National Superintendent for Wesleyan Methodist Church of New Zealand. You are more than welcome to have your own channel on Blue TV when you're ready, Reverend Atu. So thank you so much. Happy Father's Day. Great to have you. God bless you. And say hi to Auntie Francis.
Will do. God bless you, brother. Thank you.
Wow, that is a word of encouragement from Reverend Atu Lagi, the Assistant National Superintendent for Wesleyan Methodist Church of New Zealand. I hope that word of encouragement has blessed you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. May God bless you, and I will see you tomorrow.
Squad, baby. Rex, J. Sands.
Let's go.
Oh, say I'm say you are complete to me, Agelio. By the way that you move and the way that you smile. Say, oh my Dorima, baby, you be giving your hand, I'll take you anywhere. You give me something that I never had. Cause you care, but about to me and the family. Say, why you waiting on me to talk to you? Yeah, I'ma listen what y'all say. Yeah, don't move out in and come here. Yeah, they on the nail, to dirty wine, girl, dirty wine. Yeah, say, I'm in and not the bite to get out. Say.